Hello viewers, Chief here. Today we're going to try a little experiment with a tea bag. This has all come about because a fella I work with uses his tea bags twice. He uses his tea bag and then he wrings it out and then makes a second cup of tea with it a bit later on down the track. So I thought to myself, can you use a tea bag up to 10 times? And if so, what's the quality of the tea look like? Well, today we're going to try that. We've got 10 little cups here for each time I use the tea bag, and we're going to compare the colour of the tea and the strength of the small taste test. And as part of the criteria, we're going to use the same tea bag 10 times, and we're going to use a 250ml measuring cup, and we're going to put in 250ml of water into each of the test cups that I have numbered here, and then we're going to compare the colour and the taste afterwards. Today, the only criteria I'll have for the test is, besides using the same tea bag and the same measuring cup with the same amount of hot water, is that I'm going to immerse or steep the tea bag in the test cup here of 250ml of hot water for 1 minute each time I do one of the sample cups, to make sure that we have a consistent and even amount of time for each quantity of tea we make. Okay, we have our first tea bag in. It's been in for about 40 seconds now. What I'm going to do is just let the tea bag float on the top naturally. I'm not going to dunk it or squeeze it or stimulate any extra infusion. I'm just going to let nature take its course. So here's the first sample underway. So here we have sample number 2. It's been in for about 30 seconds. And as you can see, the tea bag is floating slightly below the surface. I suppose that's because the tea has become saturated and the weight's pushed it underneath the surface. That didn't happen with the first sample, and the first sample was slightly less than 250ml because the dry contents of the tea in the tea bag probably absorbed some water. And here we have a very good shot of my stopwatch, viewers. It's always very exciting when you're doing a science experiment to sit here and watch the numbers of a stopwatch count up or down in the pretty little configuration they make. This is about as exciting as watching grass grow, but I know at the end of this little process we're going to have an interesting result either way, and sometimes you do have to make sacrifices that aren't the most exciting thing in the world, but we're getting close and the numbers are counting up and I'm getting a bit happier each time. Welcome back viewers, Chief here. We've done our 10 samples using the tea bag 10 times, where we've infused the tea bag in 250ml of boiling water for at least 1 minute for each sample. Here's the first sample we did, which is the original one, and then we did the second test with the tea bag used the second time, and then a third, and then a fourth. Just looking at the first 4 samples, you can see up until sample number 3, which is this one here, that it seems to be not too bad in terms of concentration of tea as opposed to the first version. The first version is probably the optimal version. The second one you could probably get away with it. The third one maybe is stretching the envelope a little bit. And as we scroll down, you can see the 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th samples. They start to become more and more diluted. I have them in front of a sheet of pristine A4 white paper just to see the difference in the colour, but we'll move the samples around. And as you can see, getting from sample 6 through to the 10th, the 9th and 10th samples are looking very, very diluted indeed. And I would say there'd be virtually not much in the way of tea taste in those at all, but we'll go back and have a look. We'll just try a wide shot. You can see the difference in the concentration from the first sample through to the 10th, how it dilutes. Up until about sample number 5 here, I'd say it would be not too bad. This will be probably close to iced tea flavoured, I would guess. All of these are just hot water and tea bag. There's no sugar or anything in those. Let's have a little taste test of sample number 1. As you can see, it's very concentrated. It's about how black tea would normally be. I'll just give it a little sip. Yep, that just tastes like normal tea. So that's fairly standard tea. Of course, it's cold. I'll let them cool down. And sample number 2, we'll just try. The colour's more or less the same as the first one. You see they're pretty close together. There's not much in the way of difference in concentration. I'll just give it a little quick taste test. Yep, that tastes just like a cup of tea. So I'd say quite safely you can use the same tea bag at least twice if you're only steeping or infusing the tea bag at least twice, so you can get a double use out of them. We'll try sample number 3. I think this would be about as far as you can go with the tea bag if you're a real tea connoisseur for taste. We'll give it a quick taste test. Yep, that tastes like a bit more of a watered down tea. That's probably close to about an iced tea concentration. So you can see the colour's a lot thinner. It's probably 50% lighter than the original version. We'll try number 4 and see how that goes. That's probably going to be fairly close to number 3 sample. Yep, that just tastes like a bit more of a watered down tea as well. So I think samples 3 and 4 are pretty close to what you get if you had an iced tea. We'll give number 5 a go. I don't think this will have a lot of taste left in it, to be quite honest. No, that tastes just like to me, I would be honest and brutal, I'd say it tastes like coloured water. There's not much of a tea taste to that at all. I think that's about as far as you can go with the tea bag. 3, maybe 4 at the most if you're only looking to use the tea bag in these 2 samples to get something like a nice tea for maybe the kids or the fridge on a hot day. We'll skip down to about sample number 8. As you can see, it's very, very thin with colour. Compared to the original sample, it's certainly a lot lighter. I'll just move this one out of the way to compare. Oh, you can definitely see the difference there. It's very, very diluted. It looks like beer coloured. Here, we'll give it a quick taste test and see how we go. We'll just pop this one back for comparison. I'd say there'd be virtually no tea taste in this one at all, as a guess. And I'm right. It just tastes like water with a very barest hint of tea flavour in it. I wouldn't even say it's tea. If I wasn't told it was, I wouldn't guess that it was tea. I'll go for number 10. We'll just compare that to the first sample, the original tea. Now this is a tea bag that's been steeped for 1 minute from original condition, and this is after 10 times it's been infused. As you can see, all the flavour and the concentration is probably dissipated along all these other samples. We'll give it a quick taste test and see how we go. No, I would say, in my brutally honest opinion, this is just coloured water. There's virtually no tea taste in that at all. So compared to the original sample, this dark one here, I'd say the tea bag taste, or tea taste, is probably run out about number 6 or number 7 and number 8 sample. But there's virtually no tea taste left in number 10 at all. And I think all that we'd be doing there, if we did any more samples, would just be colouring the water. So there we have it. We've got one tea bag that we've used 10 times. And I could safely say you'll get at least 2 cups of normal tea out of it. Maybe push the boundaries a bit for a third or a fourth if you wanted to recycle them and use them for iced tea. And that wouldn't be too bad. You'd probably have to put a bit of sugar or some other fruit juice in there for colour. But after about the 5th sample onwards, I'd say you're probably just wasting your time recycling the tea bag. Although if you're very, very frugal and you're really determined on saving money, you could maybe push it a couple more times. But there you have it. As you can see, the difference between the tea bag that we've used. There's the 10 different samples. And if you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them with me. I'm more than welcome to see anything that you have to share with me. And we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.